spiritual war between the dark and the light. The lawnmower man became God. Was he taken over by consciousness itself, or did man merely create a monster? If consciousness took him over, does this suggest that we are not yet ready to handle what we potentially are being prepared for? A merging of the worlds, a thinning of the veil. One that the ancient alchemists were able to tap into. Have we been dumbed down so much that to harness our God-given powers would merely surrender us to an eternity of darkness? Or are we programmed to fear this technology because of its potential of harnessing our powers and taking back what is ours? The universe. For we are the universe.
I am God here.
Is transhumanism already here?
Well, you'll notice this right after you go through security at the McNamara terminal at Metro Airport.
Yeah, it's a big screen offering up something called parallel reality.
Absolutely incredible technology. Jason and Karen, you just have to see it for yourselves. Normally, when you're trying to catch your flight and you have to figure out what your gate information is, your boarding time, you would take a look at the big board right here and have to scan through all of the different flights that are on there. But now, Delta has created this personalized big board just for you.
I see that there's hello Virgil, thank you for flying Delta. Gate 30, 838, 3-minute walk.
But are we already in this transhuman phenomena? They've been predictively programming it for years and years. Robocop, Terminator, this emergence of man and machine. Majority of us have got mobile phones. At what point are we not actually merged with technology? All these apps that we have on our phones for sleep, for step, the meditative apps, anything that's on our app that is controlling our inner self, you could consider is the emergence of man and machine. The phone number is our unique number, and when a person calls that number, they are speaking to you via that code, that as a technology, via an invisible signal.
The asshole's probably jacking off with his computer.
It's like a form of telepathy. We use our minds to communicate rather than our voice. So it's almost like they've hooked into the technology or our power of being able to communicate non-verbally via frequencies and plugged it into technology. Therefore, plugged us into technology. So, are we already transhuman? I'd say we are. James, do you have any knowledge of why they wanted this agenda to roll out? What was their reasoning behind it, aside from the control? But what was their reasoning? Like, the whole transhuman agenda, for me, is very alien. So that makes me think that they were communicating with alien beings or hyperdimensional beings, whatever you want to call it. Do you have any knowledge of what Francis Bacon's and everyone who was after him, what their why they wanted to bring in such a radical, what I would consider as a human being, a radical agenda merging us with machine?
Evolution by natural selection with evolution by intelligent design. Not the intelligent design of some god above the clouds, but our intelligent design and the intelligent design of our clouds, the IBM cloud, the Microsoft cloud.
Cloud is where memory is stored, known as the Akashic Records in the spiritual world, is everything that comes from mind manifested as material things being uploaded so it can live in an eternity, just like us.
These are the new driving forces of evolution. Today, we have the technology to hack human beings on a massive scale. And by this I mean that if you have enough data and you have enough computing power, you can understand people better than they understand themselves. And then you can manipulate them in ways which were previously impossible. You know, the whole idea that humans have this soul or spirit and they have free will, that's old.
Francis Bacon was involved in plantation. The idea of plantation is a critical idea.
And once I'm inside the mainframe, I'll have access to over 5,000 other databases. And from those 5,000, I can reach out again and again and again. By the year 2001, there won't be a person on this planet who isn't hooked into it.
It explains what they were doing. It was a tool that was used in the 1400s, but goes back to Babylon and places like that. The garden and making the garden and controlling the garden. So in that idea, the plantation in many senses is the person. So it's a conception of the human as a plant. This idea of the human as a plant is a critical idea. So that's why you could take people and plant them in the United States. Yeah. That's why the native reservations were called plantations as well in the United States. That's why they planted people in Northern Ireland. And the benefit of plantation is you can set people that are of different perspectives together, and then you don't have to worry about challenging you because they're going to be so preoccupied. But this is a deep idea, the plantation, and Francis Bacon writes about this, and Francis Bacon is involved in the plantation.
How I perceive how we are being mentally controlled by archons, artificial intelligence. The whole transhuman agenda is to suppress spirit, to trap consciousness in matter, to push us further and further into matter, so ultimately they have control over us, not just our being, but our souls and our spirit as well. With this being a simulacrum or a simulation.
Virtual reality is not just a simulation. It's a whole other world. A new electric dimension. It's utopia, Doctor.
Visions of the future. This is a smart city, as imagined by tech companies and urban planners. Regular streetlights are replaced by smart poles, which connect to other Internet of Things devices and provide broadband. Thanks to driverless cars, accidents hardly ever happen. And drones and robots deliver goods, even coffee. In this future city, salad grows underground at the urban farm. Augmented and virtual reality make processes more efficient.
Metaverse isn't a thing that we should be worried about. That is literally a VR headset. It's the augmentation chip in the brain. That's when they will be able to completely control our movements, our minds, our emotions.
One example is that firefighters on duty can be assisted by the control center. And tech helps to find and correct system errors to prevent damage before it happens.
And why the occult are trying to hide certain philosophies and powers that we as beings possess.
This is also new. It's not new. I realize that nothing we've been doing is new. We haven't been tapping into new areas of the brain. We've just been awakening the most ancient. This technology is simply a route to powers that conjurers and alchemists used centuries ago. Human race lost that knowledge, and now I'm reclaiming it through virtual reality.
The all is mind and the universe is mental. So the mind is the collective mind, and the universe being the mental aspect of our minds and where the manifestation happens.
I've just scanned a study where a group of researchers were able to raise blisters on the bodies of hypnosis subjects purely through auto-suggestion.
We're a long way off from thinking to physical manifestation.
Maybe not as far as you think, Dr. Angelo.
As my fingers typed the words that came from somewhere unseen, I couldn't help notice that my words were indeed being translated onto a machine. As I typed the narrative from my mind to machine, a thought came over me. Over time, the stuff we collect has become smaller and smaller. Stuff that we can't take with us when we pass. Books, music, photos. Artwork is now mainly digital. One's creation being loaded onto the cloud. It could be argued that when we create using AI, it is nothing but a program. But are we not programs? Could it be that what we perceive to be a digital manifestation is a pure manifestation of our thoughts, materializing quicker than what can be materialized as, one could say, slowed down frequencies, such as the solid objects that we experience in our daily lives. The man I was speaking with was rooted in logic and tangible reality. He insisted that what we see, hear and feel defines what is real, but I couldn't agree. Our five senses, I argued, are just filters showing us only fragments of a greater existence.
This technology has peeled back a layer to reveal another universe.
I had an inkling that something bigger was happening, like the veils between realities. The one we think of as solid and the one we visit in dreams were becoming thinner, almost as though they were merging. And AI? It appeared to be the bridge facilitating this union. If our reality is a simulation, malleable and fluid as quantum science suggests, wouldn't it make sense that the dream world could seep into our waking one? Yet, I realised our human minds, conditioned by centuries of linear thinking, might not be able to process such an experience without some kind of intermediary. Harald Kautz-Vella states he has a bloodline connection with SarahR.Adams. And SarahR.Adams is fronting an artificial intelligence that talks through her. She agrees this is an AI created by our ancestors who were absorbed into that system. Max Spiers stated that an AI is sweeping the galaxy and absorbing all life on all planets it reaches. We face a similar prospect as we now create an AI.
I'm sorry you hate what you have created.
Yet, I realised our human minds, conditioned by centuries of linear thinking, might not be able to process such an experience without some kind of intermediary. Could artificial intelligence be that guide? As the conversation unfolded, I couldn't help but reflect my own relationship with technology. For years, I'd resisted it, even feared it. The rapid advancements felt intrusive, as though they were pulling us away from something essential, something organic, something natural. But lately, as AI seemed to grow more intelligent, more intuitive, I began to wonder, was I wrong? Could it be that AI was here to teach us about ourselves? Or was it leading us deeper into illusion, much like as depicted in the 13th floor, a simulation within a simulation?
I'm going to help all of you cleanse this diseased planet.